Can you dropship products to the US government? It is a question commonly asked by DLA business owners, and in today's live coaching session, Dave is going to be breaking down all of that, answering that question, and exactly how that would all work for you and your business, and if it's the right route for you to go. Plus a bunch of other questions, as well as he's helping some of our students on this coaching call. So it's going to be massively valuable for you if you're in the DLA space and how to execute and grow your business. So let's get straight into the video.
Okay, cool. So today's topic, really, normally these meetings aren't supposed to have topics. Like, it's really supposed to be for any question that you guys have, like for you guys to have like a dedicated time to get in touch with me every single week. However, it's going to be about drop shipping products. It's going to be about like how you would go about the aspect of drop shipping, right? And I'm going to make a YouTube video about this, but I wanted to give you guys kind of like the insider info and touch on all the important stuff first with you guys before I made like a YouTube video about it. So if you guys have any questions about like anything at all, like please feel free to ask them at any time. Like that's kind of what this block of time is for. But I will do like our normal like 5 to 7 minute grace period, and I'll let everybody shuffle in, and then I'll kind of just start talking about like the whole drop shipping process and all that good stuff. But in the meantime, if anybody has any questions or anybody wants to like discuss anything or wants to bring anything up, now is the time to do so.
Hey, Dave, it's Rudy.
Hey, Rudy, how are you, my man?
Good, buddy. I was just curious why you're not sweating if you're running.
I'm pretty lucky. The weather's not too bad right now. It's like mid 70s, and
Yeah,
we've got a nice breeze. It hasn't been the
nice.
best for me like teaching students to fly, but I mean, there's not too many like student pilots in the air, but it's been good for me to fly, and it's nice and breezy on the ground. So
Yeah,
happy about
yeah.
that for sure.
Cool. Now, I was just messing with you, but I did want to say, cool. I was questioning about shipping because we did get 2 more contracts and we got another one, but
Beautiful.
it's pallet because of the large quantity and its parts.
Okay.
But I spoke to the CO, and they weren't even for sure, couldn't really help out on the packaging data. You know, when you put in
Okay.
the Campolitos,
Yeah. Yeah.
Campolitos, it.
Yeah.
So maybe one of these times you could educate me, or I don't know who else, but I'm glad you're doing this tonight.
So what specifically is the question about having the shipment palletized?
So I noticed it says you got to have a specific pallet. Is that going to be
So,
a
okay, great question. So it has to be a heat treated pallet.
right? Is that common?
So there's a couple different ways that you could go about getting them. You can go to like any scrapyard or like warehouse or something. Or not where I guess sometimes warehouses, and heat treated pallets have like a special marking on them.
I seen that.
So sorry about that. Heat treated pallets, they have like a special marking on them. So that'll be one way that you can do it, or you can like purchase them online. You can go about it that way.
Okay. Okay. Now, my other question for shipping, because I had 2 of them. Commercial packaging, which is cool
Okay.
on the pallet, so it's no big deal. It's pretty straightforward. But
Yeah.
the other one is not. I kind of really just been focusing on the commercial packaging, but
Okay.
this one is I'm racing over here to my clipboard, but so it's mill standard 2073 1E, right?
Okay.
But the pallet says it's RP001.
The pallet?
Yeah, it
Are
says
like are you mean
palletized.
the pallet that you have in front of you or the contract itself?
No, I'm looking at the contract right now. It just says the palletization should be in accordance with RP001.
Okay.
And I read over it a couple times already, but it's just kind of vague.
Yeah, so usually RP means requirements for packaging 001, and it's usually talking about like the subsection of the mil spec packaging. And what I mean by the subsection is like you've probably seen this before where it'll be like line item 1, and then it has
Yeah.
to be cleaning and drying method,
Yes.
preservation method, et cetera, right? So RP001 would coincide with the packaging for line item 1. That's what that means. And then if you see like
Oh,
RP002, then it would be like requirements for packaging number 2 for line item number 2. Because sometimes you might have one contract and then it's, let's say, 10 items, but then 5 items on one line item, 5 items on another line item.
okay. Because well, in both contracts that we have, there one's 150, but it's big bulky items, and
Uh-huh.
then the other one is same, but it's 766 items. They're just oil filters, for engine oil filters for cars.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I just wanted to make sure I didn't get too far over my head on this.
Yeah. So just to clarify, what they mean by that is as you're packaging them, right, you still want to be in compliance with the mill standard 2073 on the stuff that goes on the pallet. And then as you palletize it, they want to make sure that you're not just throwing the stuff on there in random boxes and then sealing it and shipping it. They mean that like
Oh,
each individual item that's going on the pallet is going to be properly labeled and all that good stuff.
okay, so that's really what it comes down to for that item.
Correct.
Okay. That's pretty plain English. Thank you for layman's terms.
Yeah, no problem. Sometimes that stuff can be like kind of convoluted or like it's almost like reading like hieroglyphics.
Oh, you know what I was going to ask you? One other thing. I know you and I talked about this 6 months
Mm-hmm.
ago or so.
Mm-hmm.
I've got one contract that where I know we're going to win because we've been back and forth.
Yep.
So the depot where it's at is only like 170 miles. I wanted to know, are we allowed to deliver it there ourselves?
Yes. However, you need to get permission. Now you can. So here's how you're gonna have to do it, right? You're gonna once it gets awarded to you, you call the people at the VSM help desk and you let them know, hey, listen, this is only 100 miles away. I will print out the military labels. I'll print out the packaging labels, the packing slip, all that good stuff. However, rather than schedule a freight forwarder, can I just come drop it off? And then once they give you the green light, then you can go drop it off and give it to them.
Oh, cool. That's on VSM, you said.
Yeah, you have to call the VSM help desk.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Cool. Um, can I ask you one more question?
absolutely. That's what the time is for.
So the big order, that's 766 units,
Uh-huh.
because of our capital, it's
Mm-hmm.
like the purchase. Um, can we break it up? I know you and I talked about that before. You told me you did something similar. So
So
760
do you mean like
items,
you want to purchase like 200, package them, ship them, purchase, get paid on those
pay for.
200, and then purchase like 300, package them, ship them, get paid by the rest?
Yes.
Yeah, 100% you're allowed to do that. Now, the only difference when you go about it that way is when you are generating your shipping labels in VSM, you're going to have to
Yes.
click, it's going to be a partial shipment. It's not going to be a
I
full
remember that.
shipment. So
Okay.
you're going to click partial shipment and you'll have to specify how many you're going to be shipping out of that, I don't know, 750. So if it's only
Yeah.
250, you'll have to specify,
Okay.
250 out of 750 kind of thing.
Okay. And then we can just split it. Would you say this would it be better to, in your personal, professional opinion, ship it all on one pallet and be done, or break it up in pieces so it don't have to be shipped on a pallet, or what would you say?
Well, one factor that you mentioned that I think is important to consider is like how much capital you have, right? Depending
Yes.
on how long it's gonna that you're like depending on how much of your capital you're gonna use and you're gonna tie up for that one shipment. If it was me and I knew I wasn't gonna be super liquid if I were to buy all 750, I would just do it in increments and then I would pay the 250 or I would buy the 250, package them, ship them, get paid, roll that money over to buy another 250, et cetera, so I don't tie up all my capital into one transaction. That's how
Okay.
I would go about it.
Okay.
Just so that way you can still make moves in other areas. And if
Yes.
you win another bid, you don't want to be a sitting duck, unable to do anything with it.
That's exactly what I was thinking, Sandy and I. So I appreciate that. So yeah, these contracts that we won we're like 60% profit.
There you go. 60% profit on like 700 items. I'm sure
Yes.
that's got to be a nice number.
Yes. And I'm thinking, I seen your video about sole source and you're talking about that, but my goal was to get to be one of these. And I think this is what it's going to end up being.
Yeah, especially if you are able to, execute on this one really well. And it does require palletization, right?
Yeah.
Nobody's really going to want to bid on that. So then you're just going to end up by default being the preferred source. You know what I mean?
Okay. Cool. Well, thank you. I just wanted to ask you that. I know I messaged you, but I, this was cool that the call was here because I could ask you the same thing.
Gotcha. No problem, my man. Glad to hear it. I'm glad to hear that you were able to get a big one. And I'm glad to hear that your profit margin on that one's really good as well.
Yeah, well, we got two big ones, and then the other one is the one I was asking about delivering to the depot. So that's awesome.
You'll be able to save some money on shipping with that one. So that's good.
Well, I mean, they're paying for the shipping still, but I just wanted to shake hands with the people. I think you and I talked about that previously.
That's also a good idea. Yeah, that's also a good idea. Just go there, drop it off, be like, hey, by the way, we're not too far down the road. Anything you guys need, let us know. That's how we've gotten a lot of our stuff when people have just been like, oh, you guys exist? You guys can help us? Yeah, we'd
Yeah,
love to do business with you, kind of thing.
cool.
Awesome. Awesome. Anybody else? Anybody have any other questions? Anything else they want to discuss? Anything that's come across their desk that somebody's not sure about? Now is the time to bring it up.
Hello, can you hear me?
Hello? Yep, I can hear you.
Yes. I just have, well, I don't know, I don't think it's a question, but I'm just starting off. I haven't won a contract yet.
Okay.
I've bid it on about, I think, 60 right now.
Beautiful.
I think I lost about four, but that's fine. That's 4 out of 60.
Okay.
And right now is like I'm still kind of confused on the pricing because there are products that I'm bidding on, and it's like let's say the product is like $5, and then
Mm-hmm.
shipping will also be like probably $10. Because like you said, stick to kind of McMaster
Whoa,
car when we're
whoa,
starting off.
whoa. I want to clarify. I did not say that. I actually prefer you guys not to do that and to go do trusted parts instead. I am not a big proponent
Oh,
of McMaster. I use McMaster in the one video to give you guys proof of concept and just to
mhm.
show you how to do it. But the issue with McMaster, which I'm sure you're probably about to bring up in the next 30 to 45 seconds, is the pricing is not super competitive.
Oh yeah, yeah. My bad. My bad for I thought you said that and I mixed up. It was my misunderstanding. I thought that's what you said. But yeah,
So where you want to go, if you
mm-hmm,
want to be able to sell stuff that has a really nice profit margin, right?
mm-hmm,
Is if you go watch the August 2024 version of Ignore to Award, and then you go watch day two, if you skip to about like the 3 hour mark, that'll take you to where I talk about trusted parts, which is literally a website that gives you the pricing similar to Make Master Car for hundreds and hundreds, like thousands of solicitations. And these
mm-hmm.
solicitations range in price from like penny, like the unit price of the material in these solicitations goes from like pennies on the dollar to like tens of thousands of dollars for all kinds of different components, like electrical components and stuff like that. And a
And
person
which
that you can go ahead.
and which video did you tell me again? To and what
It's going
part
to
of
be in the August
mhm,
2024 version of Ignore to Award, and it's going to be the day two video.
page? Okay, I'll go back and look at that video. And you said it's trustedparts.com.
Trustedparts.com. Now, a
Okay.
really cool thing that Jason talked about, we have an interview coming out with Jason tomorrow, If you reach out to Jason, he has created this like formula, like this method that I didn't even know existed until now, where you can pretty much export all of the data from Trusted Parts and export all the data from Dibs and then cross-reference them to figure out what's on Trusted Parts that there's open Dibs solicitations for.
Oh, yeah, because that okay, well that's now I see where I've been having the issue because like 90% of the bids that I've bidded on are like McMaster.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I'll bid on something and then the shipping will be where it's kind of eating
Yeah.
my cost, and I will put like a discount to where the government's almost getting it for free because it's it's little stuff, and
Yeah.
then I will still lose by a whole 10, 20, $30, and I'm like, okay, I need to try something else. But now that you gave me this way to go, I'll get started on it tonight.
Yeah. Yeah. McMaster car is really good for like proof of concept and like just so I
Uh-huh.
can so you guys can see like, how the process is done and figure out, okay, this is kind of what I'm looking for as I'm bidding these things. Sorry, I'm walking
Okay.
down like a dark street here, but it's not like a way to build a business. It's just good to get the practice and get the repetition in.
Okay, well, on the bright side, I got the practice in to submit the bid, so there was a bright side of it. Yeah.
Exactly. And you can't be mad at it because you still got the repetition and then DLA still is getting familiar with your name as you're submitting bids. They're seeing
Yeah.
that, you're not just like a flash in the pan and you're not just submitting one or two bids here. Oh, it didn't work. And then rolling over it kind of thing. So it's definitely a positive, but I'm
Mhm.
glad that's why we have these calls just to kind of adjust the strategy that we're using.
Okay. And also you said I'm Jason. That's his name, right? Jason
Yeah. Jason Yaner.
Yane.
Yahner. We have a video coming out with him tomorrow, but he's super active in the Skool community.
Okay. Well, thank you. Yeah, that was all my questions. Thank you.
Awesome. Does anybody have anything else? Any other questions? Anything else they want to discuss? Anything else they want to bring up? Anything else they want to get clarified for? Clarified on? Because that's going to be the main focus of these calls is like as you guys progress in your businesses, we have these like weekly 30 to 45-minute powwows, and then we can talk about, what challenges you guys are facing and then pitch different solutions and stuff. So if anybody has anything at all, any questions, now is the time to bring them into the discussion. Anybody have anything else they want to bring up?
Dave, is Rudy again.
Hey, Rudy.
So on the packaging data, I was going to ask you on Campeel site, it shows at the bottom, I was able to put the stuff in there that we talked about before, but it says
Mm-hmm.
OPI. I didn't see a space on the Campeel Litos for OPI. Do you know what that is?
It's actually an acronym, and I'm having a brain fart. I have it in my notes actually. Give me 1 second. Let me see if I have it on this phone.
There's just three of them. It's at the end of the packaging data. One was OPI. The other one was, I think, intermediate container.
Okay, so um open package inspection. That's what it is. Open package inspection. So intermediate, so those two kind of go hand in hand, like the open package inspection and then the intermediate container. So intermediate container means like, let's say for instance, the pallet is like the big container, right? You'd wrap everything around the pallet, but then everything that's on the pallet is also going to have to be labeled, right? So let's say you're putting 250 of those on the pallet. Those 250 ones have to be like individually boxed up as well. And then
Okay.
they're going to conduct like an open package inspection, meaning like once they receive it, well, you should be conducting an open package inspection first, taking
Yes.
pictures of it, making sure nothing's damaged, and then you will send it to them, and they'll conduct an OPI, an open package inspection on the material once they receive it.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense. And then the intermittent container says D3, which from what you're just describing is pretty standard. And then it has intermediate container quantity and it's AAA. You can,
AAA. Did you put
yeah,
that in the in Camp Litos?
yeah, it was not a spot for it.
for intermediate container quantity. Well, what I would do, look I would look at the QUP and just verify if the QUP is 001 quantity unit per package, then you can just go with that and put 1 unit per package inside
Okay,
of each box.
it is. So it's the QUP is 001. So the way that's going to come is this one is one filter per box because it's the big old air filter for the diesels.
Correct.
Okay. So with that being said, on this particular contract, each box needs to be, of course, inspected and labeled and packaged by itself on the pallet.
A firm. Correct.
Okay. All right. That makes sense. Thank you, Day.
No problem, my man. Anybody have anything else? Any other questions, comments, concerns, things they want to bring up on the call?
I know that. Not perfect in terms of availability.
All right. If nobody has anything else, then what I'll do is I will briefly talk about like the topic of like drop shipping and stuff like that. I just finished huh? Yeah, I'm just gonna step outside of the car. You can stay on it. You sure? Okay. All right. Thanks, dude.
Are you going home?
Yeah, I'm gonna go home after this. Do you want me to take you somewhere?
No, I want to go home.
Okay. All right. Cool. So we'll talk about the concept of like drop shipping. I'm gonna I have a YouTube video coming out on this. It'll be early next week. So I know a lot of people ask about it. They're like, oh, well, is there a way to sell stuff to DLA without actually having the material come to your place? So I tell people not to do this in the beginning because it's a bit intricate, but none of you guys are like beginners in the sense that like it's your first time understanding the concept of like the business model and how DLA works and stuff like that, right? So I think you guys are all like somewhat you guys are all experienced enough to understand kind of what we're going to discuss. So there's a couple key things that you need before you decide, okay, I'm going to drop ship something, right? You need to have a company that's going to be willing to package and inspect the material. Number two, you need to have all of the information in the packaging requirements, like printed out in Campbell-Litos, like understood, right? So the way Rudy just asked me to break that down for him into layman's terms, you need to have that packaging information understood in layman's terms so you can relay that to whoever's going to be willing to package it for you. Number three, you need to have all your VSM like login info and your PI info written down. And then number four, which is kind of taken care of because I did this for you guys, is you want to have like a step-by-step guide on like the process of printing out the documents from VSM and PI in the event that the company that's going to be doing your packaging is not a military packaging company, right? So like it could be a company that, specializes in logistics, but they've never done like military stuff, right? Oh, and then another thing, the company that is going to do your packaging has to have a cage code. They don't have to do business with DLA. They don't have to even have won any contracts. They just have to have a cage code at least. So once you have those 5 things, so to recap, company has to have a cage code. You have to have an understanding of all the packaging requirements. You have to have your login information for BSM and PI. And then you have to have, you have to have a company willing to do the packaging and inspecting for you, right? Then how it's going to work is as you get your quote, right, of the material, and then you're getting ready to bid on your item, and the process is, going to be relatively the same until it comes time to submit, right? So you've gotten your quote from the item, and then the company says, okay, yeah, we're going to be willing to package this for you. You have to ask them, okay, what is it going to cost you to package this for us? Add that onto your cost, and then divide that by the amount of units. That'll give you your unit cost, right? Now, the real, like, I guess, difference is in Dibs, right? When you click on like packaging cage, or when you're filling out the form that says packaging cage versus supply cage, right? All this time you guys have been putting both cage codes. You've been putting your cage code for the packaging cage code and the supplies cage code, because you're doing the packaging and you're also the person procuring the supplies, right? So the difference is going to be where it says packaging cage code. What you're going to do is you're going to put the cage code of the company that's going to be willing to do your packaging. And then when they talk about like place of inspection, right? Even though it'll be origin or even though it should be destination, you can do this with an origin inspection. You just have to verify with the company that's going to be doing the shipping that they're okay with having DCMA come out to their office to inspect them. And also be cognizant if it's an ISO contract, like a contract that requires an ISO cert, and you're going to drop ship it, make sure that company has an ISO cert as well. But after it says like place of inspection, underneath that, where you put in both cage codes, you're going to want to put in the city and state of the company that's going to be doing your packaging for you. So the main difference realistically is just going to be how you're going to fill out the form. And then you're also going to have to do a little bit more work on the front end just to make sure that, you know, the company's vetted, they have quality assurance processes. And then you probably are going to have to familiarize them with how to use VSM and Pi in the first place. Now, I've always mentioned Richard and Adrian. Those are the two companies that I like to use for packaging, or that I recommend for people to do for packaging. You guys can get in touch with Richard at info@305aerosupplies.com. And then Adrian, I forget his email off the top of my head, but if you guys need to get in touch with him, you can. Both of them are mil spec. They're both companies that do mil spec stuff. They do all the packaging and stuff. Yeah, they both have experience. They both pass DCMA inspections. So both of those guys are pretty qualified, and those are people that I would recommend. Now, another thing that you could do, right, is when you get the quote, and let's say the material's in stock and it's sitting at your vendor's location, you can actually ask your vendor if they'd be willing to ship it on your behalf, especially if your vendor has a cage code. And then you can just list your vendor's cage code, and then put their city and state for the place of inspection of supplies. Granted, you just have to have it has to be a vendor that you trust that'll do it to, you know, those standards. And then again, you're going to have to give them your VSM and your Pi password, so that way they can log in and print out your labels. And then after it's shipped, they can log into Pi and then invoice the government and give them the tracking number and all that good stuff. So it's not too different. The main thing is just with the filling out of the electronic quote form on Dibs, but I don't like to bring that up in the early stages, because a lot of times people get confused, and like people are still typically in the early days have trouble wrapping their head around like FOB inspection and inspection origin. Or I'm sorry, FOB origin versus FOB destination, and then inspection origin versus inspection destination. People tend to have a hard time just wrapping their head around that initially, so I don't like to confuse them. And then submitting the quote in Dibs, it's easy once you get the hang of it, but in the early stages it can be like kind of, I don't want to say overwhelming, but there's a lot of information on the screen. So I like to kind of just keep it simple. And then once you guys have more experience, that's when I'm like, okay, now you can drop ship. And then you have familiarity with Pi, you have familiarity with VSM. So you know from your own experience what you need to print out and include in the box and the envelope and all that good stuff. So then you can have some redundancy and cross-reference and check what the person that's going to be drop shipping is putting in the box and putting in the envelopes and all that good stuff.
There we are, guys, another live coaching session with our students. I hope you guys found this useful, and if you did, please do consider liking and subscribing, as it massively helps the channel grow and it pushes out to more people who can also get the help they need with their DLA business. But if you need a bit more hand-holding, a bit more insights and the right coaching to actually scale your business, if you are serious about making the money you want to be making from doing business with the DLA, because we know how big this industry is, we know how few people know about it and understand it. It is a true gold mine right now in terms of what you can be making in this space. And if you really do, if you're sick of leaving money on the table and want to take your business to the next level, consider clicking that link down below to speak with myself and the team here to see if we can help. And if we can, we would love to help you grow your business and get the results you're truly after. If not, keep watching the videos. Massive help from those videos alone. So I hope you do find all this content useful. Speak with the team if you want to get more hand holding, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye bye.